I said before I pray, I just want to take this time to sincerely thank Pastor Kash for giving us a place to be able to share this wonderful opportunity with our brethren. And we understand that in the kingdom, you need to grow alone. You grow with others, and the 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 secret to become great is to make others great. So I want to really thank him. He's a man that really he has a heart to encourage other people grow. So let's pray. Father, we thank you for this gathering. Lord, we thank you that you should come and be the pilot, come and be the leader, come and be the driver over this training. Father, open our eyes of understanding. Let us understand it by your own perspective, oh Lord. And even the presentation, let it be by the power of your Spirit. Father, let at the end of the day your name be glorified. We thank you, Lord, for the opportunity. We thank you, Lord, for blessing us through this opportunity. In the mighty name of Jesus. You said, whatever our hands find to do, we should do with all our might. And you will bless the works of our hands. For you are the one that gives us the power to make wealth. Father, we depend on you. We lean on you. We know, Lord, that the blessings come from you, and you're the one that makes success, good success. But Lord, blessings can only come from you when our hands is doing something. You bless the things. If our hands are idle, there's nothing you can bless. Because each time you come to your people, you ask them, what do you have? It means you want to see what we are doing, then you bless it. Lord, we thank you because it's an opportunity you have unveiled to us. Father, bless us through this opportunity. In this land, Lord, we have come because we are looking for greener pastures. We have come because, Lord, we want to help more people back home. Father, therefore, there is every need for us to be established in this land, in every form, established financially, Lord, which is a primordial goal because the word says, even the Bible says, money answered to everything. It means after you, Lord, is money. Father, establish us, just like you have established the elites in this nation, having this financial secret, and they were established with wealth. Father, as you have unveiled the secret to us, also establish us with wealth in this nation, O Lord. If you could do it for Joseph in Egypt, you could do it for Daniel in Babylon. Lord, you are not a respecter of person. Do it for us in this land so that we can help many more of our brethren that are back home suffering, Lord. We thank you for opening this door for us, and let the door be prosperous. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right. Thank you so much for that word of prayer. Okay, so a little bit like about me. My name is Dominic Kimi. Um, a few years ago, I migrated from a little country called West Africa, Cameroon, to the United States, and my goal was want to achieve the American dream, unlike every other immigrant. Right? We want to make it better and want to make a difference for ourselves, for our communities, and for our families. And when we look back home, we see a lot of need. We see children who still go to school under hurt. They don't have even good classroom, no clean water. And we have a system that it is the way back home. And we feel that if you are blessed, and if God is blessing you with more, it's because He expects you that also you should be able to be a blessing to other. And so there's a lot of needs, not just school needs, but people who can afford medical bills, who can afford clean water. And God bless us with the opportunity to come into this land. And the goal was, I think, everyone's like, I want to get the American dream, but also being able to give back to the community. And that has been dear to my heart. But when I got here, like every other person, you go through orientation, and they'll tell you, okay, well, you have to go to school, probably get a degree, probably get a good job, and earn a better income. And when they told me that, I was kind of listening to all the advice they gave me. And some people told me, okay, no, there's another route. You can do IT, you get a six-figure job at the tip of your finger, and then it's gonna make you arrive pretty faster. I was like, that was smart, and I picked the route of IT because I want to get it faster, right? So fast forward, did a course interview, started doing interviews, but in the course of that, something changed because somebody invited me in an occasion like this, and I saw an opportunity that um, it's been life changing. Not just it's been life changing for so many people as of that time, and I was like, but what is happening when I look within our community? A lot of people were not exposed to it, and I decided that okay, we can decide to take the. I can decide to be one of the people that take this information to our people. So I vividly asked what is required, and I went and duly got licensed by the state, and well, I think I'm licensed in multiple states, and so that will permit me to be able to share this information across um, with our own people. So, and finally, I'm opportunity to be here, and I hope I'm going to bring you guys much value today. And I just wanted to listen to it with an open mind because some of this information I'm about to share here today, it's not being taught in school. Um, we have been we have been taught math, we have been taught how to become an accountant, a teacher, and everything, but the subject of finances is not being taught in school. So that's why what we do it's very important. Let me see. I think it is good. So in America, it's completely made of two systems. There's a system for the rich and the system for the poor, or the middle class, as they call it. And I've watched a cycle of people who come here, they work so hard for so many years. They earn all the degrees and they work so hard, but yet they never really get to like take advantage of certain opportunities or actually become financially free. Is because your job doesn't uh, help you to become financially free. Your job only helps you to have enough income to pay your bills and do other stuffs. So when you work hard for that. We work hard, probably they pay us, and when they pay you, the money probably the money also has to work hard. But if you don't know the rule of money, the game of money, or how it works, it's not gonna work for you. So that's what we do. So we're here today to be able to try to see how we can open our eyes to this information. And so, all right, I don't know what battery is dead or what. So we work with top A-rated financial service companies in America. Um, among these companies here, which of these companies do you know or have you heard of before? Evis? Okay, Prudencia. Okay. How 401k with Fidelity? Okay. And which one again? That's it? Oh, okay. Yeah, we work with all of them. You? None of them? Okay. All right. Can I have some battery? I don't know. This one is some. Okay, so we work with them and we provide our people with the power of choice with diverse products and plants that probably will definitely be of greater value and help. And some of the services we provide, we do what we call estate planning. Um, we do retirement planning. We do college saving, which is one of the things that is very, very dear to me because we work so hard to raise children in America, but they get to um, graduate from school with a lot of student loan debt, and which that can be avoidable with proper planning and taking the right steps. And some of the things we do, we take so those college planning, it's very very important. And also, we talk about retirement. We want to retire. We're not going to work forever. But when you think about retiring, what are the plans you have in place that's going to get you there? Do you one of the typical question I ask people is that do you want a retirement by design or by default? What do you think about that, Elvis? And who has designed one for you? I see why this is important. You need to sit with the right person that has the right guide that will be able to help you navigate those twists and turns, because there are various plans, and which is the one that's going to actually get you there. And when do you when do you plan to retire? And some of the things which we're going to be seeing as we go. So it's a long life journey. It's not something of 1 day, 2 days, but we take you all the way through to make sure that okay, wherever wherever you are going, we can tailor a plan that's going to help you plan towards those achieving those goals. And so there are certain things that the elite does in America. We call it the 10 principle of the successful people. And what do they do? When they make $1, before they put it, they consider one thing, and they consider wherever they're saving or putting that money, they're not going to lose it, depending on the vehicle they choose to put it in there. So the first principle is make money but never lose money. And rule number 2 is never forget rule number 1. That is never to lose money. And who came up with this rule? It's an epitome of investment. It's a billionaire with a B, Warren Buffett. He says, rule number 1, if you listen to him all the time, never lose money. He's smart when it comes to investments. And he said, rule number 2, never forget rule number 1. And then rule number 3, or the principle number 3, is management fee versus non-management fee. I think you should have a 401k with Fidelity. And probably I know you don't know that you pay financial advisors a fee to manage that money for you. Do you know that you pay them? Okay. Those are some of the things that we don't know. So what if you had a plan that you necessarily don't have to pay anybody to manage it for you, which is some of the things that we're going to we'll be looking at. And the next one is inflation. When you have your money, or you work hard for that money and you have it sitting in an account that doesn't yield any returns for you, it's not saving your interest. And so we're going to see some of the example of that. And now it's double taxation. Before they send that paycheck to you or that payment to come into your bank account, what happened? You pay taxes. At the end of the year, if you make more than $10 in that account, the bank's going to send you a letter to pay your taxes on that interest you made. And again, if you take that same money and invest in a business and make returns, you're still expected to pay taxes. But the elite, they avoid double taxation. I spoke with an accountant, and I think there's a teacher, a professor, who said they learn the tax laws. And the reason why they learn this tax law is not because they're learning on how to pay their taxes. They're learning on how not to break the tax law, but how to legally avoid paying taxes. And the next rule is flexibility. When you save, when you choose a saving, or where you choose to save your money, how flexible is it? If you need that money for probably an investment or for emergency need, can you have it? Some plans will not let you have that. Another one is compound interest. What kind of how does your savings grow? Is it grow? Does it grow following the simple interest approach or the compound interest approach? We're gonna see that. Another one is social security. I don't talk about this because we don't have control over it. The government controls everything, and you don't have any say. And another thing which the elite does is that they plan properly for this point number 9, critical or chronic illness, and it is the number one cause of poverty in America. I want to share a little story real quick. The same guy I spoke with, he came from Trinidad, and he had so much passion to make it here in America. And when he came, it was not easy. He started with delivery, but he wanted to work at Wall Street, where all the stuff happens, investment, stockbrokers, and all of that. He had that dream, and he was anticipating to make that happen for himself and his family. Finally, he found himself in the University of Maryland, where he studied accounting, had his degrees, PhDs, and all of that. And luckily, he had a good job. Finally, at the Wall Street, he landed that his dream job. And he worked with corporations that makes billions and billions of dollars a year. And he realized that they don't pay a dime in taxes. And let me ask you a question. At the end of the year, Elvis, when you take your 10 is it W2, how much taxes do you pay? You realize you pay a lot of taxes. But the elite makes billions and they legally avoid paying those taxes. And how are they doing that? They use the right plans that help them accomplish that. And so this guy happened to had his job, and he's working so hard at Wall Street. And guess what? His client was so since he was working with billion dollar company, he became a millionaire. He was super worthy, and he was so happy. Life was so good for him and his family. But something happened because, in as much as he was a millionaire, he was not privy to some part of the information that we're sharing here today, and he got involved in an accident. That was a critical condition, and he has a beautiful wife, kids, and life was good. And when that happened, he lost his marriage, his kids, his home, and he had a couple of investment, but he never really get to probably talk with financial advisors, and they would tell him, okay, you can. So he used the plans that they advised him, but he didn't. When you go to the hospital, by the way, if you go to a dentist is specialized in a particular section of maybe dealing with your teeth. If you have a stomach issue, a dentist is not going to prescribe medication for you. So he spoke with financial advisors, and they were able to give him plans and set him up the best way they could, because that's what they're trained and they're good at. But the other areas he was lacking in it, which we're going to see it. And when he had an accident, everything gone. He lost everything. And it was a very difficult situation. But could that be avoided? Absolutely, depending on some of the plans that if he had, because he had a couple of savings, investment, properties, and when that happened, the cost of care become a very big problem. But the right people who are savvy, who understands how this works, plan for this number 9 way in advance. That the day it happened, or whenever it happened, or if it happens, okay, they are planned for it. And the last one is estate and probate court system. Do you know about estate? I think we hear about real estate. Yes. But while you are living um, and you pay your bill, they call it bills. But when you pass away, they call it estate. And but the probate court system part, there, do you know about it as well? Yeah, so it's not quite discussed quite often. But when I got here in 2017, a young guy who was doing his kati business in Maryland passed away. And his family was doing GoFundMe. And everybody was like, what's happening? Some people say he was into drugs. They freeze all his account. But that was not true. The day you pass away in the United States, even before your family knows, the government freeze your checking account, your savings account, your bank account, and everything that you have. And when they do that, what happens? They first of all take care of your estate or your bills, everyone you ever owed, and that process takes about 1 to 2 years. 1 year after, and it takes about another year after to go to completion. And until that is done, no money is coming out of that account, no money is coming going in, which is a very sad situation that people find themselves in, and which also can be avoided using the right plans. All right. So when we look here, you see that these are different financial portfolios that you have in the United States. You either have a checking account, savings account, a 401k, certificate of deposit, that is CDs, Roth IRA, maybe stock or Bitcoin, annuities, life insurance, bond, a 529 college fund, Social Security, pension, and another one that we use within our local communities. We talk about Njangi, Susu, maybe different depending from the country, right? But Cameroonian community, we know of Njangi. And well, we said the rules that the successful practice are make money, never lose money. So which of these accounts do you have that if you have money inside, you're not going to lose, you're never going to lose money as long as you have it inside? You have a checking account, CDs, savings account, you cannot lose money inside, as well as if you have a 401k or 557 TSP, each time the stock market goes down, you are losing money. That means you are driving to work in the morning and they say, hey, the stock market is up, you're making money. And what happens? By the time you close at work, they say, oh, it's down. The same money you make in the morning, you lose it. It's like you're betting, right? Make money, lose money, make money, lose money. And we have index annuities, life insurance, you have the right type, municipal bond, whatever dollar amount you save in there, that's irrespective of how far irrespective of the state of crash in the market, you're not going to lose even a dollar in it. But the 529 plan, which is probably what most people use is to plan for college savings, um, you definitely are going to lose money inside. I had a friend in Ohio. He was planning for his kid to go to school, and he saved about $14,000 in January. And by March, he looked and was like, "Oh, I have $10,000 inside," and that's what you're trying to save for. That was the money he's trying to save for his kid to go to school, and now losing and making it, losing and making it. Probably at the end, they still have to look money from somewhere to help them accomplish that goal. And the next one is paying financial advisors. If you have your savings account in your bank account, you never pay anyone to manage it for you. But a 401k, IRA, Roth IRA, stocks, financial advisors, they charge you a fee, irrespective of whether the market is doing well, whether you're making returns or not, you are paying them to manage that account for you. But if you have an annuity as well, life insurance added to the other three, municipal bond, you don't pay anyone to manage those accounts. Whatever interest returns you gain, that they really manage it for you free. But you also pay someone to manage a 529 plan. Then we talk of inflation. Which account do you have that outpaces inflation, that makes more money, that makes at least 3% interest inside? When you look at your checking accounts, savings accounts, CDs, those ones, they make below 3% rate of return. So when you think of the price of gas, for instance, 2 years ago it was about $1 something. Now it's $3, sometimes $4. You see, that inflation is not cooling down; it keeps going up, and now you're losing value if you keep money, or if that money is not making more than interest rate of 3%. Then for stock, like a 401k plan, 557 TSP, it's the same thing. They just give it different names. IRAs or stock accounts. This one I put dash there because you don't know the market performance. You don't know if you're gonna make money or you're gonna lose money. For instance, um, I don't. That's a little bit small, but you see, that's an example of a performance of a stock market. In 2000, in the year 2000, there was what? Let's say this person has it. This account. He started it with about $250,000 inside, and The next year he make about 26% interest, which is super great. Everybody want more returns. The next year he makes 18%, which is still awesome. But the preceding 3 years in 2000, there was what they call a dot-com crashed. And what happened then, they lose everything, the gains they make within those first 2 years, they lose even to the even started losing part of the principal. And after that, and when these things happen, what happens? You call your maybe your 401k company, or you call your financial advisor. They're gonna tell you, hey, come on, don't worry, Elvis. The market is gonna come back up. You're gonna gain that money, right? And the next year, 24%. I told you that yes, the market was gonna come back up. But rule number one is that make money, never lose money. So in as whatever dollar you lose, you're not gonna make it again. Then the next one is then what happens is that within those few years, make the next 3 4 years, they make the market was positive. Then 2008, we had a real estate crash. What happened? Boom, the market lose. I mean that they lose about 43% in that same account again. So you see, you are going through the wobble, making money and losing money, making money and losing money. That is what some people love. They love taking the risks, right? So you have to take the risk. And at the end of the day, you don't get the probably you don't it doesn't take you don't get the returns that you expect to have from it inside. But if you have that money sitting in an annuity, a life insurance, municipal bond, it makes more than 3% interest. It outpaces inflation, and you don't get to make money and lose money inside. But in a college fund, you don't know the outcome. Another one is taxes. So tax taxes or no taxes. So which account do you have that if you make returns inside, you have to pay taxes to the government? Number one is what? Checking account, savings account, CDs, all of those ones. Any interest you make inside, you pay taxes. So I talked about double taxation earlier. I mean, you pay tax, you pay taxes on your paycheck, you take the money and invest, you still pay taxes on it again. And I want you to understand something, that taxes is the most erosive factors in your investment, in your savings, because you pay all of that every day, but there are still some accounts that some people uses that they don't pay a dime in taxes, no matter how much they make inside. We have Roth IRA, a Roth 401k. We have a life insurance if you have the right type, because no, it's not all the types that have accomplished that. Um, Municipal bond and 529. With the 529, where there's an exception there, is that if your child wakes up tomorrow and say, "Daddy, I'm not going to go to school," or "I want to do business," you have to pay taxes on that money. Or if the child says, "I want to go to school in Europe," all right, the money must be used in an accredited institution in the United States, so you have to pay taxes on it. That's another thing when it comes to that. But without that, all of those accounts you see in checking greens, whatever you save inside, you can keep the returns to yourself, and they are being governed by the Internal Revenue Code. Depending on the account, different Internal Revenue codes governs that. And which of the account do you have that if you have money inside, you can access it penalty free? A checking account, you don't definitely you can get it out anytime, but you have a CD, it is governed by a terms, so you cannot just come inside and get out money from it. It's not liquid. You cannot have it at any time. And if it's IRA, depending on where the money is coming from, Roth IRA, no, you cannot have access to it. Bitcoins and stocks, you can access the money anytime. Annuities and life insurance, um, you can access the money as well. But bonds and college funds, you cannot access the money anytime. Once it goes there, it's locked. And we talk about simple interest versus compound interest. I want us to pay a keen attention to this, because this is what happens, and this is where a lot of people fall prey to the banks, corporations, or financial institutions. Um, we pay our bills on on compound interest, but when we save our money with the banks, they pay us on simple interest. So what I think when we're in primary school, they should teach about compound interest versus simple interest. So compound interest is the approach where they pay interest on interest. So whatever interest you have in that account, they apply the rate of return on that same interest plus principal. But if it's a compound interest, they only apply the interest rate on principal. And let's look at this. And before we look at that, this is what Albert Einstein says about compound interest. He says that compound interest is the seven wonders of the world. He who understands earns, but if you don't understand, you pay. And that's why before you pass through the bank, they're giving you a credit card. They're sending you emails, come and take credit card. And when you take that credit card, just be paying the minimum. And what's the interest rate? Maybe 24%. And you're paying a lot to the banks. Not just that. Let's see. So let's assume that you have $100,000 you want to save with the bank. And the first year, the banks calculate 10% of 100,000. That's $10,000, right? We are praying a lot. Is that work overnight? I see. But are you getting it? You sure? All right. So what happens is that the interest, so the first year you calculate 10% of 100,000. That's how much? 10,000, right? All right. In the compound interest is the same. But the next year, what happens? They calculate the interest on same 100,000, which is 100, and which we now have $120,000 in that account. But now in the compound interest, they applied the 10% on 101,000, and now you now make about 121,000. All right. Now if that same process proceed for the next 40 years, in this account for you, what's going to happen? All right, look at what happens. Look at what is happening. So the bank is only paying you 300,000 by year 30. But how much are they making of that money that you keep with them? Almost 1.7 million. All right. Guess how much you're gonna make? The bank's gonna make the next year. And look at what you have: 400,000 40 years later. All right. Look at how much the bank's gonna have. How much do you think the bank's gonna have there? All right, you're almost there. What do you think the bank's gonna make from that in that account? 500. Pastor, how much do you think the bank's gonna make from there? Okay, let's see. 452,000. You guys were close. That was good. But look at what happens. The bank makes off your money a whooping sum of 4.5 million, and all they pay you is 400,000. And again, I want you to also look at it for people who has car note or mortgage. Like I remember, I said you pay your bills on what? Simple interest. But now, if you have a mortgage, you are paying your bills on compound interest. So you pay that house for 30 years before you finish paying. You pay double of that price to the bank. So if you're having a mortgage, you enjoy compound interest. Having a car note or probably a credit card, you're enjoying compound interest there because you're paying all of that money to the bank. But now, when you save your money with them, all they give you is what? Peanut. And by the way, the bank does not give up to 10% interest. Know that. Oh, how much interest did the bank pay you when you save money with the bank? Maybe your bank is very generous. They're very good. They like you. They want to give you more interest. How much interest did they pay? 0.1%, right? Because this one is just literally this one is just for example purpose. But this is the typical performance of some of the accounts I was showing you. But now, if the bank was, I mean, literally, you are saving that 100,000 for the next 40 years, the bank will not even pay up to 400,000 because they were paying 0.001%, and they make all of that money and they keep it for themselves. All right, so that's another thing. And again, which of the accounts that when you save money inside it grows uninterrupted? In your saving account, you cannot make. They only pay you 1%, 0.01% interest. So you're not making any money off it, right? Even as well as CDs. But your savings account is being interrupted by the interest rate. 401k is interrupted by what? Market performance, going up and down, making money and losing money. But there are two accounts that's outstanding. We have the fixed index annuities and we have the life insurance. that when you make money, it doesn't, it's not interrupted by it is not interrupted by growth. I mean by market performance, because if 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 the market crashes, you're not going to lose money inside. So whatever you have inside is locked. Your gains are locked. So that's very important when it comes to that. The another one is the danger of social security. Do you know O.J. Simpson? There was a guy in Florida. He had a civil lawsuit because he killed his wife. That's what they say. I think maybe he did it. I don't know. And he went to court and he lost everything. But prior to that, he had one of these accounts where he puts billions, millions of dollars inside. But now, when you're filing um, a bankruptcy and you have money sitting in one of these accounts, you cannot declare it because the way it's designed is not yours. But technically, it is yours, but they don't see it to be yours. As well as so the danger of social security is that we are paying social security to the government every year. And now, if something happens now tomorrow where you say, "Oh, Mr. Government, I need help," you go down to the social security office. Say, "Please, can you help me?" They was like, "Well, yes, we're the government and we love our people and we want to help them." So they'll ask you to come in, sit here. Can you fill this paper so we can look up how we can better help you? So when you fill that information, they'll go inside and they come back and say, "Hey, Mr. Elvis, we see that we don't want to help you, but we want to check this information if it is true. So we see that you have about $20,000 saved in this your savings account here. You see, we cannot help you at this time because before we can help you, you need to first of all spend this money. You still have a lot of money with you. And by the way, you have two cars and a house. So you can sell that house, or we can agree that you. I think there's some form of agreement they can agree with you to will that house to them. So that if something happens, they'll come and take over the house before they can help you. And now they expect to spend down whatever you have to the least. And now when you spend down everything, and by the way, Mr. Elvis, we see that last year you sent $20,000 to Nigeria. You should have anticipated that this thing will happen. So we cannot help you. You're too rich. Go spend all of what you have there first before you can come back at that time that we can help you. And by the way, your wife is still working, and see she's making good income, so she has to also spend down all what she has first. That's when the Social Security can step in there and say, okay, well, we see that you are really really poor. You have less than $2,000 in your account. We can help you, but at that time they cannot. Those are the restrictions that they have. So that's why I said we don't have any control over it. It's only when you're faced with those situations before you know these things. But it's good you're getting these informations today. And one of the questions I always ask is that if you stop working today, Mr. Elvis, I know typically when you ask this question, sometimes some people hesitate to answer it, but I just want to ask it. How long can you survive from your savings? Maybe I know some people will tell me 1 month, 2 months, some say 2 weeks, some say 6 months. Yeah. No, the current standard of living, or even you can say, I can cut it down because well, I'm being at the age. So if you decide to cut it down, how long do you think you can survive if you stop working? That income stuff coming in, right? Yes, 6 months. Okay, that's awesome. At least some people say I can even survive 2 weeks. Yeah, but at least you're good. And then okay, look at it. What if the reason why you stopped working was as a result of critical or chronic illness, like the case of that guy I spoke about earlier? And that will probably has to last for a little bit, a couple of years. Let's say 5 years. It's gonna be disastrous because no income is coming in, right? What plan do you have exactly that if something like that happens, you are okay financially? So these are some of these very important things that we talk about. But there are two accounts that stands out that if should in case I think one of my friends always asks this question is that being sick, I don't pray to be sick. I don't like sick, and I don't expect to be sick. But he asks this question that being sick, is it a matter of if or a matter of when? So, and the right answer, I'm not going to give the right. Well, I'm going to say as most of the response I get. So people say when, and now when that when happens, what do you have that can take care of you? All right. So because the reason why I say this, these are all the accounts you have here in America, right? You know, after two weeks, you say 6 months, your checking account probably has gone because the cost of care in America is very high. And another thing which I try to talk to our people because when we come here in the United States, they say, okay, well, you have to start from the humble beginning. And the humble beginning part of it is that what probably you have to get a home health aid license to start helping people who are not able to go to work. But look at the interesting thing there. Those people who are not being able to work are the same people who are paying you every 2 weeks. Where did they get their own money to pay you? They think they save some kind of money. It's financial education. They use the right plan. That when those days happens, they are very okay. So, but there are two plans that people mostly use. They use immediate annuities, and they also use another bucket called life insurance, if it is the right type, because there are some types that probably will not be able to help you as of that time. But what they are able to use to take care of themselves, maybe for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, because they set up some plans. It was not that because probably if you look at it, and typically even within the elite or the white community, a lot of them they get set up. And I talked to most of them. It's like, oh, my dad got me set up, my grandmom got me set up, but we are left behind because nobody. We are so much focused on okay, chasing that next dollar bill, chasing that next paycheck, and we don't see to take a holistic approach and look into okay, what am I missing? But for them, they have a guide that was already set for them, and they follow it and they set it for their children, and that's why these people, when we work those beginning jobs, that's how they're able to pay us. They use some of these plans, and when I talk about those you see the lady with crutches there, she can easily wake up in the morning tomorrow and after 2 weeks and go back to work. But that man who is lying there with a nurse or somebody standing beside him, it will take the special grace of God. But my issue here at that time is that the cost of care there ranges between hundreds and thousands of dollars for him to survive and to take care of himself as of that time. But we need the right plan, which is where we need the right plan. And I talk to people and they say, well, I have disability with my job. It's okay, but this is what happens. With a disability that comes through your job, what happens that if you have a condition like that, the first 3 months they call it short term, and they're gonna pay you. And by the way, do you know how much they pay you? While you're working, they pay you 100% of your salary or your paycheck. But if you become sick, they only pay you 60% of what you were earning. Then I ask myself a question: when I'm healthy and I'm very good, and they pay me 100%, that's not even enough for me to take care of me and my family. Now that I'm sick, that's when they pay me 60%. I don't know, but that's what they do. And now, oh, what have I done? Oh, okay. The right type of a life insurance with living benefit can definitely help you if you have anything like one of these conditions, if it's a critical illness, chronic illness, heart attack, stroke, or even issue of you cannot perform two of your daily activities for more than 90 days. Um, some of the you can start accessing the money. It's like a vault, but it's kind of designed differently when it comes to this type, which you probably need to actually see it. And another thing which I spoke about was the probate court. So the day you pass away in the United States, before your family knows, Your checking account is free, savings, CDs, 401k, IRA, all of these accounts are freezed. But if you have an annuity, it's not freezed because can only be paid to your family that time. So the designation, the way it's designated, is that it can only be paid to your family, to your family, so they can still have access to it and be able to take care of bills. Because I've seen a lot of people that when such things happens, their homes goes on foreclosure and they lose everything. That's why I said this information is very, very important. People who are earning high net worth earners, and because if you cannot pay that house for 3 months, you don't trust me, you're not going to own that house anymore. The bank is coming after it. If it's a car, the bank is going to come after it. And another one's life insurance as well. Every dollar that you have inside, so I'm not talking about the regular type. This one is a little bit different from the regular type. Every dollar amount that you save inside, you can keep it. I for you can be able to use it. I mean, they will not freeze it as of the time because it is not it is designated not to be yours. You don't own it as of that time. So your family can have access to it. But if it's a municipal bond, it's freezed. So they first of all take care of your estate, your debt first, before they think about your family and and whosoever that you designate. So if we look at it, this is a typical of how all of those account performs. And the question I'm going to ask that, which of these accounts do you want to hear more about? Yes. Okay. Yeah, your good says guess as mine. I will definitely want to hear more about that. What of you? What's your name again? Sorry, Valerie. Okay, I didn't ask your name before. Okay, which of the account you want to hear more about? Okay, all right. Then we'll switch the gear to life insurance. But by the way, how do you want your money to grow? First of all, it will. Do you prefer there are three approach: fixed, variable, and index? So the fix is your checking account, your savings. It did not grow right. What you put there is what you get. The variable goes through the stock market, up and down, and maybe you don't know the outcome. But that one kind of it scares me when I talk about variable because in 2008 there are a lot of bunch of folks that were planning to retire that year, and they woke up one morning and boom, 43% of their life savings gone. This is what happens. So if you have $100,000 in a variable account, and another person has $100,000 in an index account, if the market crash, you see the person in the index account is happy because why? I mean, it's not bothered because his gains and everything he has inside is locked. But to the extent of the crash, you're gonna lose your money. Let's say the market goes down by 50%. They say, hey, Mr. Elvis, you've lost 50% of the money you had in your 401k or your stock, whatever variable account you're using. But now the next month or the next year, they say, okay, well, yes, we have good news for you, Mr. Elvis. The market has come up by 50%. How much do you have in your variable account that time? So you lost. It was 100,000 initially. You lost 50% of it. Now you have 50,000. And then the market comes back up by 50%. How much are you gonna have? Now it's not 100. It's gonna be 50%. 150% of 50,000. That's 75,000. Meaning you have not even made what you had initially. The initial principle you have inside. So it's gonna take you a while to catch up with that. But guess what? If Mr. Smith had about $100,000 in his index account, when the market comes back it comes back up by 50%, he's gonna have how much? 150,000. Because he's not lost anything, and the market came back up. So that is the logic behind the index and the variable accounts. All right, you wanted to hear about more about life insurance. Let's talk about it a little bit. There are different type. We have group life, term life, whole life, and universal life. So with a group life is the one you have through your job, and the advantage of it is that it's the cost is insignificant. You don't really pay anything there. You must be a full time employee to have that. The disadvantages is that coverage ends if you lose that job or if you switch job to another company. You don't have that coverage again, and it's only paid when you are dead. If you are sick, it cannot pay you. No benefit. Okay, illness. If you are laid off or retired, that's why the coverage is ends. And what happened is that only 0.9% statistics, when you calculate with through the insurance companies, only 0.9% of those policies pays. And by the way, if you drive, it only pays for this policy to pay you. You must whatever incident. If you say you have to die at your job, because if you drove to the parking lot and something happens to you there, and you, it's not gonna pay. So you have to be at work. We had this incident in Maryland. This guy passed away, unfortunately, and the family was so excited that okay, well, it's not excited, but they were like, oh well, things were tough, right? And they're hoping that okay, they're gonna cash out from the insurance he has through his job. But the guy did not pass away at work, so it didn't pay out. And that is that, but it is the most deceptive kind of life insurance or insurance that you can think about. And that's why people curse oh insurance because they don't have the right type and they feel oh this and that. Another one is term life. So what? It's very cheap. You listen to TV commercials. They tell you about it's most popular. You hear about it, but what happened is that it's temporary. So I'm young and I have a. If I go and get a term insurance for the next 30 years, after that 30 years, what's going to happen? Coverage end. If I'm still living, what's the essence of that? But because the goal here is that they're telling you that okay, well, take a term if you pass away before 65, because most company ends coverage at 65. So which is just 30 years term, and whatever happens after that, you guys bears the risk. It's only pays upon death. There's no benefit while if the person is alive. Premium will increase if you want to renew. So if I choose a 10 year and after a 10 year I'm still eligible to renew, the premium will increase. And there's no cash value. You cannot withdraw money from it. Because remember, when I think one of the account we saw earlier was that you can put money inside and all of that, but you cannot withdraw money from inside because there's no cash value, and it's betting upon debt. And most companies offers this thing coverage at 65, and only 9.2% pays. So that means the rest, those companies like they eat your money for nothing. So it's kind of somebody one of my I don't know colleagues says that do you know that the insurance company is stealing your money? It's because people have most of these types and they don't even know how it works, and now when this thing doesn't happen right, they curse the hell out of those companies. It's not their fault, but is that people are not properly educated about how it works, and you have the wrong type, and that is it. So if you really know that okay, this is what I'm expecting, and it happens, okay, well, I think I didn't make the right decision. Then the next one is whole life. So with whole life, yes, it has a lifespan of up to 100 years. Premium remain the same, and there may be cash value, but the disadvantage is that it is more expensive and no benefit while you're alive. Yeah, it doesn't pay. It doesn't pay you while you're alive, and there's no cash value guarantee. But the truth here is that the cash value that grows inside. If something happens that they have to pay, the company keeps all the cash value inside. They only pay you the death benefit. That with this whole just a regular whole life, and that's why I said number four point says that death benefit without cash value because the company steals some money, and people don't even know about that. Um, they play over people's ignorance. It's not like steal. I don't know how to call it, but there's another type which is called the index universal life. Um, since I call it the family miracle. It has about 66 benefits. And But the disadvantage there is that you have to pass a physical, um, health physical. You need to be healthy before they can approve you for it. And sometimes when I talk about it, it sounds too good to be true. But what I do here is that I kind of have to actually sit, because I always like to explain. If somebody, since you say you're interested in knowing more, we can book next a different session of about 15 minutes. Then we sit. Then I will show you the futures of these ones, since I don't want to take much of your time. But which are the companies? And the interesting thing about it is that this product we're talking about, Transamerica or Fidelity will not say, "Hey, come and get this." No. And the reason why, and if you go there, they say, "Okay, oh, have a 401k." They'll give you a 401k, but they are still the same people offering those products. And who are those? Or having all of those? The senators uses the same products where they put billions and billions of dollars inside. But what will interest you the more is that they say that if you want to hide something from people, what put in the book, because nobody will read. We will do everything. We'll party, but talk about reading. Hell no. I've read through these books, and these are written by 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 experts in the field, by expert in the industry. And when I'm talking about these things, I'm telling you what happens in real life, and these are people who knows how the system works, and they definitely use it for their advantage. Unfortunately, we cannot see this one way, but I just wanted to look at this. That's one book that they call Money, Wealth, and Life Insurance. If you look at those numbers, um, Bank of America is there. Is that you cannot definitely see it from here, but that bank alone has about $24 billion saved in life insurance. I'm asking myself a question: when is this bank gonna die? And so we put all of that. Why are they putting so much money in the life insurance? By the way, because of tax-free returns. They can make billions or millions of dollars on in interest inside, but they don't pay a dime to the government. The Internal Revenue Code 7702 allows them to do that. Not just them, the elite uses a lot to hide money inside. That's why you probably if you meet an elite and you sue them or you take them to court, you think you're gonna get money. You're not gonna get anything, because at the end of the day, they are well structured such that if you come to them, you're not got they don't most of their property are not no, like they have a structure. Some of them we call it, I talk about estate planning. They have some of them. Because I work with those lawyers and all of that. We sit with some of those people who want to do estate planning, and we set up those stuffs so that if you sue them, you're not going to get a penny. But they put billions and billions of dollars in here. Why? Because of the interest, the tax-free benefits from it. And not all the banks. If you see, not all the banks, PNC, Chase Bank, JP Morgan, all of them, they has billions of dollars inside. All right, now you save money with the bank, and the bank puts it here and make other interest, and they pay you nothing. So it also makes sense that if you bypass the bank and save money, your money where the bank saves that money, and make that interest for yourself, it just makes sense to me. As well as not just banks, individual does it as well, but also corporations, companies, they do the same. They use the same vehicle. It's a financial tool. It's not just, that's why I say this one, I call it, the reason why I call it a family miracle, because it's a financial tool. When I was explaining it to you, you'll realize that even the insurance part itself, because it comprises of two parts. There's an investment part inside, and there's an insurance part. Even with the insurance coverage, if you have a critical illness or chronic illness or any condition, that policy, let's say you have $1 million. I had this guy who left work, and he was going home, and no, sorry, he was at work and he sleep off, and He had an issue with his leg, and he had to sit home for over 9 months. And in the course of that, he had one of the policies with Nationwide. Every month, he was being receiving a check of $20,000 from Nationwide because he had his policy that was enforced already, and he made more money when he was. But the goal is not for you to make money, but the goal is for you to be protected. That if the unexpected happens, you should not be found wanting. You should be well secured and protected. So we should be able to do the same thing that these companies does. Not just that. Walt Disney, we want to go to Disneyland. The money he used to start up Disneyland was from this, as well as McDonald's. We eat burger every day. That's how he was able to start up that world class company from this. So people set it up. It's not. I tell people every day that if you're looking for where you want to, because some people want to save it and say, okay, where am I going to get where am I going to get that money back? Or can I withdraw it tomorrow? I'll say go to Chase Bank. But if you want to grow it the right way and grow wealth the right way, this is not the only. I've shown you different investment plans or accounts, but this is one of it that stood out, and you say you want to know more about it, and that's why I focus on it. And it's good to diversify. You have a 401k, yes, diversify, and so also have this as well, since you see this to be outstanding. Um, this is another book talk about retirement miracle. How the government officials doesn't have so much faith in the Federal Reserve System. They put their savings in this same account, which you asked to hear more about. And some of them they call it say the biggest bank of all. Former Reserve Chairman Ben has the majority of his liquid wealth invested in a life insurance product, and they don't want this information to just be discussed like that. There's a lot of regulations, strict regulations, that people should not talk about it anyhow. Because why? If everybody chooses to start using this, they get screwed up because they're not gonna get a dime for taxes and all of that. So that's why there's a lot of strict. They don't want it to be called an investment. And the question is, if you have an account that yields returns, that you don't get to lose money from inside, how do you call that? And they choose by default for everyone to have some form of a default the retirement. Did you ask them to give you a 401k? They gave it to you, right? Why? Because it benefits them the most. But listen to what this guy says. Chandler. This is a book he wrote about the wealthy physician. And he says 401k is for people who want to retire broke. Then historical, I think I talked about this one earlier, but you look at the numbers here. So if you have $250,000 in a 401k today, or no, like from 1998, this is an example, and another one has decided to use an insurance product, the one you wanted to hear more about, and he puts $250,000 inside. About a couple of years later, look at the outcome. This guy makes $465,000 inside from 250,000 growth, and he pays 25% 25% to the government. That's about 116,000, and he takes home how much? 348,000. And someone uses an Index Universal Life 7702 account, makes about 1.4 million, and keep everything to his family and himself. You see that? That's why the rich get richer and the poor stay poorer. They force 401k down your throat, and you take it. You're happy, and if somebody asks you, you console yourself that I have a retirement plan, but it's for Uncle Sam. And by the way, you don't know what the tax rate is going to be in the nearest future. Regular government spendings, the tax rates can go high. You pay a lot more high in taxes. But you cannot change today, yesterday, but it can change from where we start today going onward. So this is the case of a guy. I think his name is Scott. He came. He wanted to supplement his retirement. We structured a plan for him, and a couple of months later, he went to the hospital and he realized that he had a heart attack. And because of that condition, this is one of those companies, Trans-America, issued a check of 340 something thousand, 50 something thousand dollars to him, and he was able to take care of his family. And remember that prior to this time, life was good. He was working a job that he earns about $50,000 a year, and he was taking care of his family and all of that. But if this check didn't come through, probably he would have lost his home. But this was not the case. He was able to continue paying his house, his cars, and he was happy. He sat to set up a supplementary retirement plan that ended up being something that really helped him. So, what I say is that sometimes ignorance can be very, very costly, and that's what I've seen a lot of people suffer time and time and time again. Because the guy I spoke about from the start, he was lamenting when he finally knew about this. All the millions he made from Wall Street went away, like disappeared when he had an accident. It's like he wished a good Samaritan walked through his door and actually spoke to him about these things. At some point in time, he would have never been in that situation. And because of that, he found this and he came and was like, look, I want to forget about my accounting knowledge. Everything I ever learned, I want to help my community. And he went and got licensed, and he wants to do this. But this is a lady from New York. She's from Cameroon. That we spoke to him. We sat with her, spoke to her, and she was like, "No, this is a thing. I'm not. It's not for me. I'm not gonna do it." After a couple, it's like, okay, well, it just complimentary education. We didn't charge you any fee anyway. But if you don't want to do it, that's fine. But what happened is that down the line, she went to the hospital and she discovered she had stage 3 cancer, and it became worse, and she couldn't survive. She passed, and immediately she passed, all her asset was freezed. And a committee of friends or Jangi or like they came together and they said, okay, well, let's help our sister in need. The family needs us. So they put some little contributions together, and could realize $1,000, and that's all they could put together, and to help the family. And they raised, that was a GoFundMe. I mind you that she was a nurse practitioner, earning about good income. But when this thing happens, the story changed. So this is why this thing is more dear to me, and I want everyone to be able to understand these things and take proper decision, because I believe that when you know better, you can always do better. And that's why I want everyone within our community to understand this, such that if it happens, it should be that, okay, well, it was your decision. And a lot of people, I have people who has taken the right steps, and we sit together and we help them put down little plans that help them the most. And I've seen also people who were never able to take actions, and when those things happen, it becomes a lot of chaos for them. All right, so at this point, I think we've come to the end of this presentation. So I will, since you said I always like to take a short time. So now that we're done with this, I would like to know when we can sit. Even though it's definitely going to be via Zoom because we have a convention in Las Vegas, but. In person. Okay. Okay, no problem. Yeah, but still, let me see. Let me take some 5 minutes and show before we round up here today. Oh, all right. I know we also this part is talking about doing what we do because when we help people, educate people, and help them plan better, those companies I showed they also help us as well. So an average person here who came doing do what we do from 1 to 3 years, they earn about $88,000 a year in income, and between 4 to 7 years, most of them earns about 300,000, and between 8 to 10 years, they earn about $800,000 in income. And I also see that as an opportunity. I always like to share this at the end. Maybe some people want to take it. Say, okay, well, I want to make extra income, extra 5K, extra 10K in a month. It's we train. We don't ask, oh, bring me your resume. So let me see your work experience. We don't require to have a work experience, but we can train everyone who's willing to learn and grow. And what I like about it is that it is really help a lot of people as well, because I discovered that if I had that my IT job and probably they start paying me $100,000 a year, or 200, or maybe I have two jobs, they pay 150 or $170,000 a year, and sometime I'm gonna lose some of those jobs. I'm gonna have it. I'll be capped at that. I'm not if they say, okay, well, this is your agreement, 120,000. You have to work for that company for the next 40 years. All I'm gonna earn is 120,000 dollars. But here you're not capped because there's no limit to how much you can grow. If you want to grow further, absolutely you can. So it's a very huge company, but in the year 2023, I think they paid the entire team about $70 million for helping people, middle class families in America, and that money is being paid by these companies. These are very, very, very huge company who has been in business for a long time. And in the month of February, I think this is outdated, but that's fine. There was a lady by name Lady Apono from Cameroon, and in the month of February alone, I know when she came in, she made about $270,000 a year. I mean, sorry, a month. In the month of February, I'm not talking about the whole year. I'm talking about just a month of February. And another lady from Ghana by name Patricia Ponsa was able to make about $207,000. Another guy, Emmanuel Tita from Cameroon, 172,000. All right, if we go down on the list, we see that some people are making $34,000 in a month, made about $34,000 in a month in the same month, while some are making over 200, 100, some are making 34, some are making, I think it's a little bit smaller. I don't know if you guys have seen well. Queen Eseni from Nigeria making about 11K in a month of this thing on a part-time basis. So, Peter Bongua making 8K extra. So it's always good if you can make extra money. You can always take advantage of it and join where we train you, and you become the best version of yourself and be able to help more people as well. Um, the list is pretty long, right? But up to 500, 800 people, 840 being paid by those companies. And what does it take to do what we do? First of all, you need to have a clean background check. That's very important. And you have an online course for $30 where you study to get your state license by your state. before you can be able to do it. And once you get licensed, then we can come on the platform. Every resources has been put together to help everyone who wants to do a business on the side. And business entrepreneurial mindset is very important, especially in America. The job is not what gets people there, but businesses. And this one gives a lot of people the opportunity to be able to do that. And when I show that, we realize some people are making over $200,000 in a month, and some are making maybe 1,000. Some are doing it just spare time once over the weekend. Some are doing it on a full time basis. Um, but it's still being able to help them. So think of your income as um, if you look at it as that one leg table, if that leg goes off, what happened? Yeah, that income is crushed, right? It can bring a lot of chaos because it's collapsed. But if it's three, four legs, if one goes off, it might wobble and it will still stand, and probably you'll still be good. So there's a lot of work to do. A lot of few of us that you see over there cannot accomplish. So look at it. It's like you see that little Skype pocket there. That's just what has been accomplished. There are still so many people that haven't heard about this information we share here today, and we can only do as much as we can. So if you feel that, oh well, I think I need something on the side, we can help you do that. All right. So that will be the last part of our discussion today. And so, when will be a good time to sit and talk with you? Tuesday. All right. Yes. I will. Okay. Now I'll get the time so we can sit and talk together and talk and let me show because I've not since you wanted to know more about the policy part. I want us to run the illustration, then show you the features and everything how it works better. Hey, how are you, sir? You came early.